All right. Here we go. Back to good old Trump taco trades. So obviously, a lot of folks a little shaken by good old Donnie T. Donnie T coming back with something more for us to hear some taco trading on. And the Qs did just almost perfectly reject 627. It really feels like we're going like line to line here. It seems to be the common trend, if you will, with the Qs lately. Just like stuck on the Nasdaq 100, right below the good old 617 and the 627 line. I don't know what it is, but the lines. You have to trust the lines. It's always the lines. So anyway, take a look at this. You've got, some enthusiasm as we people have this expectation of taco. Enthusiasm brings us to 627. Question now is it going to hold? JP Morgan was down 2% in pre-market, then got down to only about 1%. Now it's back down to 2%. Problem is, markets have to decide, hey, what's going to happen in 2026? And so far, JP Morgan is, not only do we have bank earnings this week, but JP Morgan's one of those banks that says, hey, maybe we don't actually need rate cuts in 2026. Maybe everything's so fine, we're not going to get rate cuts in 2026. We're actually going to end up getting rate hikes in 2027. We find this very interesting. So let's go take a look at what is newsy in the world. And I will say, shout out to all of those of you still funding on the HouseHack private investment. This morning we got some more deposits. What do we got here? 25K, 60K. That's about 80K. That's 268.5. That's 303.5. That's 74,000. So all that together is a pretty big chunk of change. But that does indicate that a lot of you who or either have gotten or are getting your applications approved from when you signed up on December 31st are still in the process of funding. That puts us at a total now of for the month of, I'm still calling it December because it's all, still from them. It puts us at 12 million that y'all have raised for HouseHack AI, which is, and the real estate, obviously, it's the same company, which is pretty remarkable. So that puts HouseHack, I think, in a pretty good spot. That oh wow, yeah, that was a good bump. So HouseHack, 1, 2, 3, that puts HouseHack over 20 and a half of liquid just to take advantage of whatever opportunities end up coming in L market. So that'll be entertaining. But anyway, okay, let's get that out of the way and let's focus on what the heck is going out in the world. So we'll start with the doomers, the good old doom and gloomers. Strategy is buying its largest purchase since July. Good old Michael Saylor always seems to come up with the dollar hollers to be able to go buy some Bitcoin. Hey, over 90,000 again, though. I don't know. Are we going to get another chance to buy under 90K so I can send another one of those tweets? Last chance to buy under 90K. Nobody really likes Bill Pulte, so I think this actually increases taco as a potential right here. Big fan of this. Big fan of, people, hopefully people thinking that this guy's just Taco Man and they move out of the way, get this guy out of here. Trump, when Trump comes up with the idea himself, I usually get a little bit more nervous, but I'm glad to hear that it was Bill Pulte's idea to subpoena the Fed so he could go on his little fishing expedition. It's still kind of lame, but whatever. All right, bank earnings start really tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. Proxy fight over at Warner Brothers for Netflix, or between Paramount and Netflix for Warner Brothers. Let's go take a look at how is, because Netflix is just, lost like all semblances of support, right? You jump in over here. It has really slipped, but, it's a fantastic stock. They make a lot of money, and this is sort of an incredible retracement here, but having lost now 90, isn't fantastic for short-term trade enthusiasm on Netflix. Okay, let's see here. Let's go see if the Journal has any juice from the editorial board about this grand jury indictment. I bet they will. Well, it's certainly front page news. We know that. But I want to see if they wrote anything. Wow, not yet. I'm actually surprised. Usually they write something. The dead of Saks Fifth Avenue. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, Fed chair probes. We saw this. We talked about this. Trump investigation is a warning to the next Fed chair. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me actually. This like, hey, I'm the captain now idea. So it's likely either going to be Warsh or Hassett. I think it'll probably, it should be Waller. Economically, it should be Waller, but it just wouldn't surprise me if Trump just chooses the wet blanket instead. So I'll end up going with Kevin Hassett. Apparently, Trump has already decided. We're just waiting for that to actually show up. Rent concessions in the Sunbelt. Well, yeah, overbuilt cities, man. I always get nervous about. We were looking at real estate. We were doing a bunch of HouseHack work this weekend, and the problem with seeing a lot of construction is kind of bubble things up a little bit, huh? Okay, let me see here. If I go to what do we have for economic data this week? Let's take a peek. Oh, that's right. We have CPI coming out tomorrow. Yeah, nobody really cares right now about CPI. It's more about jobs. And PPI Wednesday. Import prices Thursday, and then Friday we get industrial production. Okay, this is pretty boring. Okay, what do we have here? The struggle to find affordable apartments is tormenting renters in major cities, but not in Phoenix, the U.S. capital of free rent. What the hell does that mean? About 54% of rentals in the metro area are giving tenants at least 1 month off of their rent. Wow. Highest percentage anywhere else in the country, according to October's data. This discount can range from 1 month to more than 3 months, and it doesn't count other perks landlords give to attract tenants. Amazon gift cards, discounted sports tickets, free moving trucks. Wow. These people are begging for tenants. That's crazy. The renter-friendly environment in Phoenix is a symptom of the city's enormous glut of high-end apartments. Yeah, they build like crazy. Developers flooded the Sunbelt with new luxury buildings and flashy amenities during the pandemic years when droves of remote workers were moving in. Yeah, but that trend slowed. Led to a surge of newer properties hitting the market. Now there aren't enough renters to fill. Right, because there's a lag. Everybody moves over there in 2020, 2021. People are like, oh, we should build here. Those buildings don't actually hit the market until 2023, so it takes 2 years to build it. Wow. That's very interesting. Yeah, Phoenix price is getting hit the hardest. 2 months of free rent. Wow. So many apartments and so many places you could potentially live. Landlords are definitely trying to sell you. Phoenix rents have steadily fallen, mostly at the upper end. By the end of 2025, rents have fallen 4% annually in Phoenix, whereas they've fallen 1.3% nationwide. That's disinflationary. That's actually interesting because, housing CPI is still positive, right? CPI. Let's go see here. CPI. Let's see here. I want the components table. CPI. Unadjusted, seasonally adjusted percent change. Right, but they didn't give us anything in the last one. This was a joke. Owner's equivalent rent of residences. Okay, here we go. They listed it at this one, month over month, 0.1. Right. So it's still positive, right? I'll write that down. So if I go here, show that chart. Yeah, that's actually great on the disinflationary thesis. Okay. So, okie dokie. Wall Street Journal shows U.S. rents declining. What's the time frame on this? 1.3% as of December, year over year. 1.3% as of December, year over year. But in overbuilt markets like Phoenix, rents are declining. We have 4%. 4.0%. Not uncommon. People flooded Phoenix, Vegas, Texas, Florida after COVID in 2022 and 2021. Builders took until 2022 to 2024 to build. Now we need to find a new equilibrium, which likely means lower rents still to come in those markets. Now, what does that mean for the economy, right? That's actually really good for the economy. This is really positive for the economy because CPI still indicates positive owner's equivalent rent. This suggests the lag. Equivalent, I guess, huh? There's an E in here. Owners, it's an A. There's the E. That's what I messed up. Okay. Owners, here we go. Owners equivalent rent. This suggests disinflation is still alive and well. Right. That's great. That's actually bullish. I like that. Okay, let's link that. There we go. That's great. Okay. Discount applies to 2 or 3 bedroom rental, blah, blah, blah. Concessions are rarer for lower income renters and older buildings. Landlords are more likely to offer concessions for new buildings because they're leasing for the first time. Most new properties are luxury, made for the pandemic era boom of wealthier renters moving from cities like San Francisco. Too much supply. Lower income renters have fewer options. Landlords have more pricing power on their rentals. For lower income. Oh, that's very interesting. And specifically, I will specify that. Toishe specifies it's the higher end sort of remote tech worker that's getting hit the hardest. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see what people say about that. Yeah, concept of supply and demand. Yeah, the problem with this is that affordable housing advocates are actually socialists, and their argument is that you have a God-given right to affordable housing where you want to live. The fact that you can move to Phoenix and live an affordable life does not fit with their argument. Right. Right. So this right here, I mean, they're right on, first of all. But there's a concept about this. So let's put that in here. How should I put it? The downside people argue of getting squeezed out is they lose their connections to family, work, friends, However, so socially, people get pissed about that. Socially, people hate just move, right? Economically, or I should say, in a capitalist market, that's exactly how it works, though. You know, if you live in Newport Beach, you really shouldn't be able to, in capitalism, if you live in Newport Beach, California, under capitalism, you can't will into existence affordable housing. You know, it's a gorgeous area with massive demand. So capitalism will always increase the price and therefore squeeze out those who can't pay those prices, right? So, in other words, there's plenty of affordable housing, just not necessarily where you want it. You know, some of that is because you can't build more in some of these areas, right? I mean, frankly, if Newport wanted to build more, they couldn't. Even if Newport wanted to build more, they're out of room. Like, unless you go vertical, right? You could go vertical. I'm a fan of vertical, but a lot of people aren't because of traffic. Problem that comes with vertical, it's traffic. And people hate that. Right. I mean, think of like Manhattan, right? Nobody wants to drive in Manhattan. It's kind of interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, what else? Heaven wants to move to OC. Yeah. So somebody says, so you're saying capitalism is anti-family? No, I'm saying capitalism doesn't care about your family. Capitalism cares about supply and demand. That's how it works. Capitalism doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about supply and demand. Oh, is this political influence peddling? Probably, like the Laurel Loomers kind of stuff. Wow. No way. Look at this. This Alex Bruziewicz guy or whatever had some advice for the president. Reclassify marijuana as less dangerous. Nearly 70% of Republican voters support Trump on this no-brainer, he said to his 640,000 followers on X. A political action committee funded by legal marijuana's biggest players just paid him $300,000. Holy Christ. Wow. That's, yeah. I mean, it should be disclosed, right? They don't have to follow the disclosure rules. Wow. Israel made plans over the past year to spend more than $900,000 on an influencer campaign within the United States to fight negative sentiment on the right. Bibi just met with conservative social media stars on at least 2 of his visits. Wow. All getting bought out. Very interesting. Politics. Sponsor trips to Doha for several pro-Trump social media personalities. VIP Formula One tickets. It's all rigged. Nice. All right. What else here? Somebody says exactly that's why government regulation is. Well, government regulation just makes it worse. I think that's the point you're missing, right? Like the government comes in and just constrains supply even more. If the free market was able to build, then you wouldn't have a supply issue. Now, government regulation stops you from building vertically because people are like, well, I don't want so much traffic. Okay. Well, then you don't get affordable housing. That's how it works. All right, let's see here. What else? Let's see here. 10% credit rule. 10% credit card limit is very interesting because, this puts you in the place of like home equity lines of credit, these days. 10% cap, temporary. The other problem is you could saddle yourself up with debt and then that resets higher. It's going to suck. Trump didn't offer any details, but said he wanted to begin it on Jan 20th. Average rate today is 23%. Let's see. That could save $100 billion a year. Wow. That could translate to meaningful savings on an individual level. That's remarkable. Not clear if it would apply to new or existing. But close to 90% of consumers could lose access to credit, either through closures or reduced credit lines. Wow. Or people could gravitate towards buy now, pay later. That's interesting. That all makes sense. That does make sense. Let's see here. Let's jot that down. Wall Street Journal. Oops. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. What is going on? There we go. All right. So on credit card interest, so they're suggesting $100 billion per year could be saved in consumer interest, more savings, principal pay down, or potential spending, right? That's cool. Downside is, what did they say about 90% decline? Credit availability might decline 90%. What is back up the truck level of Netflix? I don't know. It's already very cheap. But just because there's a desire to buy more doesn't mean technically the market cares, right? It's a big company, so it moves like a cruise ship instead of a little speedboat. Credit availability might decline 90%, right? Which this would have an offsetting effect. To desire to spend more while saving, right? If you don't have credit availability, it's not going to work. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. What else? So, Times. Let's see what the Times has. Oh, let's actually jump to the info. Jerome Powell says Donald Trump just launched a commitment. We saw that. And how are the sticks doing right now? Still bobbing around 627. Not bad. And then, how are the homies? The hardware homies? Netflix, Nvidia, AMD's, CoreWeave, 207 on AMD. Wow, look at that line-to-line move on CoreWeave today. Holy smokes. Because they bounced off 68. Now they're up at almost 90 again. That's pretty impressive. Line-to-line, 79 to 90. Very impressive. All right. This is The Economist. Let's go here. We have a problem. Motive sells AI-powered dash cams, allowing trucking companies to monitor drivers and send alerts. But they have 400 Pakistanis vetting the AI results. Nice. Uh, a lot of misses. They want to pitch for IPO. They want to pitch for IPO in AI market, but they're basically a human in the loop. Yeah. Sort of like the scam of the self checkout of the Amazon with what was it, like 3,000 Indians or whatever. All right. What else? Oh, there we go. Robinhood wins a round in battle with Coinbase. Which one's that? Let's take a look here. Robinhood's been doing great. Like just the products that they've been offering have been fantastic. SOUN? Dude, I don't even know what that is. Can't give you thoughts on SOUN if I don't even know what it is. Soundhound AI. Yeah, I don't know anything about this. $5 billion company. Soundhound. What is this puppy? So Soundhound, they lose cash flow, so their cash flow is negative. Something because of acquisition liabilities, okay, because they had net income. So I don't know what's going on there. Are they raising money through debt or what? They're selling shares. Would they just, okay. The revenue's gone up quite a bit, but so have their costs of revenues. Total operating expenses are massive, partly because of this, but even with this, would still be losing money. All right, so they're losing money. Not a lot of debt. Seems like sort of more of an earlier stage company, huh? I don't know much about them. But anyway, where were we? Robinhood, Coinbase. Oh, they're just comparing stock performance. Oh yeah, Robinhood's been crushing coin. Okay. Anthropic. Okay, OpenAI, SoftBank, yeah, Agenda. Cool. All right. Oh, look at this. Why Rivian is a better bet than Tesla right now. Rivian sales are tiny. Could rescue Rivian stock. Well, I don't know that people really care to invest in a car manufacturer. I think what they like about Tesla is this, robotics future and the hope of robotaxis, which is mostly just a hope right now. Okay. What do we got? I bet the Economist is going to be pissed about this Powell thing. So Mr. Trump, bizarrely, Mr. Trump then denied knowledge of the probe, telling NBC News, I don't know anything about it. He's certainly not very good at the Fed, and he's not very good at building buildings. This is just ridiculous. Ugh. All right, who here is Powell 2028? Let's run a poll. I'll be curious. Yeah, we actually opened up an 11th position today, by the way, in the alpha report. But I want to run this poll. So I have a list of 10 stocks that I'm buying for the next 10 years. And and then I spent some more time doing some more research. But uh, I was so enamored with what I saw that I had to make an initial position. I'm still going to keep doing more research on it. But anyway, uh, yes, Powell 28. No, there we go. Okay, I'm starting the poll. So the poll is yes, Powell 2028 or no. Okay, curious what people vote. Okay, let's then while that's cooking, let's go see what else is fun out there. I want to see what the suits are saying this morning. Okie dokie. I mean, that's the biggest news right now. That's all they're talking about, like on CNBC. I don't think I've seen any other byline other than this Powell thing. Okay. No, the 11th position is not Loan Depot. Powell. Just join meetkevin.com. You all should be there. I mean, if you're here watching me, why not get the extra hour in the morning where we do this amazing fundamental analysis every single day? And then, we put it all in the stocks tab so you can see all the research over time. Plus, you get all the courses on asset protection, tax strategies. You could even probably write off the courses. I mean, you pay once, you get lifetime access to all of it. We've simplified the pricing so much because you just get everything. Obviously separate from the HouseHack AI, but I mean, that's a whole separate thing. But anyway, okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, I was going to look at the suits really quickly. Okay. Ooh, the Qs are almost green. They're just still going for that 627. Look at this. All right, let me see what the suits are saying. So the suits. Okay, so it says 10-year faces concession risks after Fed credibility law. Yeah, that's true. That is true. The 10-year will probably keep going up. Kevin, what are your top stocks if the Supreme Court kills tariffs? Well, they're actually my top 11 stocks because I think tariffs will go away no matter what. Whether the Supreme Court kills them or another president takes over, the tariffs will go over time. Somebody says, Kevin, you're getting hit with a 5% billionaire tax. Well, I'm not a billionaire, and a 5% billionaire tax hasn't been passed. However, there is a rumor of that in California, which is quite problematic because they base it on voting control, not on actual equity ownership. So you could literally bankrupt owners, majority owners or like a founder-led startups. You could bankrupt them in California. Like if they pass the billionaire tax, entrepreneurs would have no choice but to leave California. So you'd get it. You would literally force everybody out. Who is like a founder or entrepreneur, right? But I also don't think it's gonna pass. Let's see here. Okay. No, the suits don't really have anything fun. Nothing fun from the suits there. Yeah. Iran claims it quelled protests, Paramount, Pulte. We saw all this. What's the NVIDIA? Nvidia and Lilly to jointly invest up to 1 billion over 5 years. AI lab. Oh, for drugs. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm a big fan of that. Somebody says the poll is pretty divided. Oh, let's see what the poll is. All right, I'm just going to end it. Okay, let's see here. Poll and poll. It is 5149. It's almost 420 votes. 5149. Powell wins by a hair. Powell 2028. That's funny. That's actually very divided on Powell. That's surprising. I feel like he's honestly the only one so far that's had the balls to sort of like tell Trump no, you know? Everybody else just sort of rolls over in politics. You know, obviously other than like the Democrats, but they're on the polar opposite side, so by design they have to be. So good for Powell, honestly. All right. Wow. Pretty quiet. Oh well. We have a lot of work to do with HouseHack today. A lot of work. So I'm going to go. All right, folks.